Okay, not to get, okay, that's where we left off. Let's fast forward 18 months or so. This is how fast things can go from up to down. So I'm at Michigan. After the first semester there, I got beat up good. My brain was just starting to sag. It wasn't working. I was like, right before Steve went toink, I probably had a slow motion toink. And I went home at Christmas, and I was just like, I can't, the means don't justify or the ends don't justify the means, whatever. It is seriously like, no, this isn't what I signed up for. And I went home at Christmas, and then that was weird, and I told my father, it's just like, I keep trying to include him, and every time I get, it's like one-on-one a little bit, it was just like, well, you're a quitter. I'm like, where'd that come from? What have I ever quit in my life? I mean, you don't even know enough about me to say I quit. That's kind of harsh. And I drive back to Ann Arbor, and all the way there, it's just like, I got to get my gumption going. It's just, I don't have it in me to go through another semester. I mean, I punched a door because I was so hopped up before the final exam in CE 611, because this stuff was just outrageous. And it's like, I know it, but then I know I'm going to freak, and oh God, it was so bad. And then you start pounding the coffee and try and keep your head above water. So right before this one final exam, I'm losing it in the apartment, and I get so wound up, I punch the door. I mean, broke skin on my knuckle. I don't think I broke anything, but it's hard to write. It's like, Professor Hanson, can I get a medical excuse because my hand doesn't write wrong answers now? But that's what grad school does. You just get better excuses to do poorly on exams. So, I mean, that's how wound up I was. It was like, no, this isn't working. So I go back, and it's like, I've got to put a carrot in front of the cart here, because it ain't working. So all the way, and then it's like, I'm thinking of Jill, because up and then down with Jill, and I got it's uncomfortable because you're up there and I'm down here, and she had her friends, and I didn't have a job until I got that job, and then Marathon or Houston or grad school came up, and so it was just like yin yang, yin yang. So when I went back to Michigan, I go, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get my act together. I'm going to get the degree. I'm just, flat out, it's just go down to Dallas, and I'm going to ask her out. And it's like, if she says no, she says no. And it's like, come on, you're too old for this. I'm 27 at this point. I didn't even date until that point. This girl, why didn't she get her act together and ask me out? So I go back to Ann Arbor, and then I write on all these scraps of paper. Say, that's a scrap of paper. I write out all these things I'm going to do. I'm tired of lying to myself, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get my act, and I'm going to toughen up, and then that page would run out, and I'd flip it over on the back of the next sheet, and I just write all this. It's like pouring out my game plan and they're like 5 or 6 scraps of this index card, and I'm just writing out what I gotta hold myself to this contract on scrap paper. There's a good plan. There's a contractual agreement to hold on to. So I write all this out. The pieces of paper said that. That's exactly what they said. So I get the bright idea to call her up. This time I'm pretty sure I called her up. But I'd sent her a note before the end of the first semester, because I remember I got a card from her, and she would not have sent me a card unless I sent her a card. So I kind of forced it on her. It wasn't one of those thinking of you and stuff. It's just like, I'm in Michigan, and now I'm even more eligible than before. So So I did, and she sent me a card back. No love, Jill, or anything like that. But it's like, well, if you end up down here, just give me a call or whatever. So I got airfare. So it was like the first week. I was probably celebrating my accident because it was the first week of February. Oh, now I'm getting all lightheaded. It was the first week of February, and I got this basically round-trip ticket to DFW for that day. I called her up, and I said, I've got a interview lined up, and just wanted to know if you had some time to meet me at the airport. Stupid is limitless at times. Okay, I gotta power through this. And she said, okay, I'll meet you there. But she didn't say it, but I'm kind of like getting that tone where don't expect the best day of your life to repeat. But I don't sense that quite yet. So I get on the plane, and the thing is, when you have the year before as the last time, it's never good twice. It'll never be, it's like the first glass of wine for me. The first time I had a glass, I'm not comparing her to a glass of wine, but how the first time of something incredibly memorable and memorably good it was senior year when everything's turning upside down. I remember coming home and just, life just gives you 5 rounds of beating up. And my parents had the 3-liter jugs of Burgundy on the stairs. And so I just, first time probably ever, I went down and I got a glass of wine after school, and I went back to the bedroom and I was listening to, You Light Up My Life, Jay Ferguson, Thunder Island, and all these songs that made me think of stuff. And so I go back there, and I remember I had the glass of wine on the windowsill, because you couldn't see it. We had these real thick, it was like my sweater tie material for the curtains, so you couldn't see anything behind it. And so I had this glass of wine there, and it went through the next one. I think it ended up being 4 glasses of wine, but I think that's what kicked off the wine thing, because whatever it did to me that day, it agreed with me, because the life looked a lot better with those 4 glasses of wine, because I carried that tradition for a while. And not that it's funny, but it's just the way it is. But I think I kind of had the same memory with, the first time getting off the plane. But it was in the air before I even landed that, repeating history in a historic event, it only happens once. So all I had nothing except for not even a briefcase. I had a bouquet, like a 7-Eleven bouquet of dried flora. Not dried, but, just like one of those little cheap $12, not roses, because that's too presumptuous. I mean, come on, flying out from Detroit Metro to DFW and come up with roses? It's over the top. And so it was like a little bouquet of stuff. And so it's time to deplane. The plane skidding all over. It's February. The plane hits the... And I get off the plane, and I get off, and she's standing right there. It's like, okay, maybe the bear hug's out of the question. And I'm doing the slow walk of shame up to her. And she's just straight, stern, ugh. And I walk up to her, and she goes, "Where's your luggage?" Because I guess whatever I had told her, luggage would have been appropriate carry-on to be intended, because I just had jeans on. I don't get dressed up, especially in blue jean gal and stuff. Walk up to her. She goes, "Where's your luggage? Where's your briefcase?" And I go, and she goes, "What's that?" And I immediately chuck there's a bin. God put a bin for me right there to get, and I go, nothing. And she said, what's going on? And immediately all the game plan and the cards and the mental contract and everything else gets just abandoned. And she goes, what about this interview and stuff? And I'm like, I just, and she goes, you know what? I can't, what do you want me to do? What do you want to do? And I go, well, I'm meeting some other people. Just, thanks for showing up. And she left. And the thing is, when I had left that morning, or I left Carl to catch this flight, it was like a 10:30 or 10:45 flight out of Detroit Metro, which is closer to Ann Arbor than Detroit. It's only like 15 minutes away from Ann Arbor. I left Carl at the library that morning, drove to Metro, flew down to Dallas, had that occur. Got back on my flight, got back to Metro, drove back to Ann Arbor, parked the car, went back to the library, and Carl's still there the same day, working on the same homework problem. Oh my God. So that was just, no. But if it were you, wouldn't you at least try? Okay. I don't care what your answer is. Mine was yes, it was. Sort of. That one hurt. That was a long flight back. That was my little reality check. So now we're up to 87. So all that going forward. So now we're, get out of Michigan, and now I'm going back up to here. So we're in the good stuff. It's like, okay, now let's just figure out what's going on that's good. Because look at this. I'm way above average here. So we got, this is through 89. Call it like it is. Man, round 4. We're getting to 4. That's way above average. It's like, okay, well, hold on to that. And the thing is, that's after that last disaster we just went through. So what happened here? I had CTL, and that was the day. And all of a sudden, it's like, engineering can be fun, and I'm not bad at what they want me to do. And I'm not a calc guy or anything else but the field. And then the first job was we were climbing equipment and looking around this dam. And so the first job was it was in the September, and we got jackets for it. And, this, blue, that was CTL blue, which is a cool color. This is outside Niagara Falls, and it's the Robert Moses Parkway Dam. And we got to look at the inside of it, which was this. And there's Jose, and that's me. And I got to do this and not worry about getting arrested for spray paint. Not that I spray painted stuff, but this is what I did for 13 years. Delaminated concrete, and we put down cracks, and there's a little boom. I'd never lift, work legally. No, never played around with the construction. We had someone that had the bulldozer keys, but that's okay. I don't think they're universal anymore either. Someone got smart. But, we had a coring rig, and getting all muddy, and the drill mud, and, Jose, and at the end of the day, it's just, let's just go out, and, I'm achy and sore, and, yeah, I don't know what that was. Yeah? Jose, our German technician from Tijuana. And so this was it. Then we had Marcus. Marcus is the big old dude. He's the bro. But Marcus Whiteside was probably like Luther Vandross. He was just a big guy. And he was our drafts person. And he was with us. Marcus and I got along great. And Jose got along great. And it was Carlton and Jerome O'Connor. There were 5 of us. Oh my God. This went on for a couple weeks. And we got to go up and down and flying around this, and I smacked they had little lights up on the side, and I smacked into that and dinged it. It was like, whoops. And, bouncing up and down, and, it's just like, I'm surprised that we're okay. And then Marcus is just in the basket kind of rolling his eyes as I jag it around. He's just like, okay, just have fun, son. And got to wear the little lanyards and stuff, so. I was at cloud 9. This is just the best in the world. It's like, are you kidding me? It's like 40 degrees. And, oh, this was the best. And then we go outside during the day. And it's like, it's daylight? Let's just go back and, there we go. This is the best. So the first week you're tired and you go back to the hotel. So I did this the other night, and I hope it's right, because it looked a little bit different. But here's Niagara Falls, and we had to stay overnight here and then drive to this site. And it was right near the border because the bridge there, it was the border bridge. Then we flew into Buffalo, which is a little ways away. Then we go to Niagara Falls to stay overnight. Then we drive in the morning. So that was great. You know, you get up at a hotel, you drag yourself out, but at least you've got, 35, 40-minute drive for 2 cups of coffee? Oh, it's perfect. And then, so yeah, this is right. This is right. I picked it there, and I go, that just doesn't, Mr. Observant, it's on this side. So we were in the guts of this guy. It wouldn't do any good to go down street level because we were inside. But we come out, and then this is a roaring. I always thought it was called the Snake River, but I don't know what river it is. It was fall. Ooh, well, that is beautiful. It's like October. Okay, we don't need to do that. They invented color, I remember that. So anyway, so we go out there, and we're having a field day. And Marcus, and I'm a relatively new employee, and it's Carlton, and Carlton's Carlton, and, you know, if Tracy's Tracy, Carlton's Tracy divided by 4. We'll just call it that. He's a great guy, but he's a political guy. And the thing is, you need political guys like that, but then you need field guys that need to do what they need to do. And then Carlton kind of paid himself as the field guy, but he's really a politic field guy. And it's like, you know, it's just the way it is. But he's absolutely good engineer. He's the manager now. So I don't want to paint it the wrong picture, but he's a political. And that's right, you know, Tracy's divide by 4 is the political side. And corporate, he's kind of corporate guy. So, and not that's bad, it's just I'm uncorporate. That's my only gig. Not anti, just un. And then Jerry's just kind of Jerry. He's Jerome. And one of the things is he says always, but it doesn't come out as always, it's always. So, Pete Golf, if you ever see this, I'm sorry. But it's like always this. So we always had to go back, and Jerome always had to drive. I'm trying not to be too obnoxious. And Carlton always had to be in the front seat. But then Marcus kind of got tired of the driving Miss Daisy gig going on and sitting in the back seat because Marcus was getting a window seat, Jose was getting the window seat, Carlton and Jerome were always in the front seat, so that only left either between me sitting up front between Jerome and Carlton, or in the back between Jose and Marcus. So I chose the latter. You can just picture what the silhouette looks like in the car. You've got, Mean Joe Green on the left in the back, and then this, Oliver Hartley in the middle, and Jose on the right, and just blocking everyone in the front seat. So we go back to the hotel, and we were, tired and stuff, and this was kind of important. So we go back, and there's like one area where the hotels are. Call this a hotel, that a hotel, this, that. And I remember we're staying at one. Niagara is not that big. If you call that the Holiday Inn, and then this would be Howard Johnson's, and then a Budget. And so we'd all go there one night. It was $54. I remember these numbers. The room rate was $54. Mind you, this project's like way over $100,000. This is big time CTL stuff for the day. We get up in the morning. Jerry says, "Hey, go get your bags. We're going to go. I got us a good deal over at Budget Hotel." So we go back in and get all of our luggage. and come back out, throw them in the car, go to the job site, do our little toy stuff, you know, bouncing around, play engineers, and then come back to the next hotel. And you know where this is going. So we go in, I probably go to the bar, you know, Carlton for sure, Jerry maybe stop by and say, hey, have a Shirley Temple. No, I'm kidding. Marcus and Jose. Actually, Marcus didn't drink. So just leave it at that. I don't know. Jose, he enjoyed the beer. And, I mean, cleanly. He did his job. He never did not do his job. And then, you know, dumb me, I'm a guy that, you know, have a beer. We have a beer with the guys. So we go down, and then overnight, and then I go through photos, because I just photo document everything. It was just like that job was meant for me. And I get up in the morning, and sure enough, Jerry's in the lobby. Hey, go get your bags. I got a deal over at Holiday Inn Express. What? Oh, God. Go to your room, go pack up all your stuff. And these are stinky field clothes, because all you have is one jumpsuit and then maybe an extra pair of jeans, because you only go out a week at a time. So Tuesday we go pack it, and we go get our stuff, and we come back, throw it in the car, get in the car, go up, and then this time Marcus is just kind of like, I'm done, you know, what? But he doesn't say it, he just does it, you know. So at the end of the day, Jerry's out talking to one of the reps from Robert Moses Parkway, the, what do they call it, the administrative people, and the car would be running, and Carlton would be in the back seat for someone. Oh, Marcus would just park himself. He'd go to the car before anyone else and park himself in the front seat. And then he'd put on a rap station. So then poor Carlton would come in and see he's blocked off. His shotgun's blocked off. And one time I remember that Marcus just sat in the front seat. I'm in the back, and he turns around, looks at me, and goes, watch this. And so he goes, watch this. And so he sat there, and then Carlton's uncomfortable, and he goes around. By the time he comes around, Jose's not in the car yet. Jose's not committing because he's standing over here waiting for that middle seat to become occupied. So Carlton comes around, gets in the car, and now Jose can either do me a solid in coming in and not come in on my side, so I have to scoot over and do the middle thing again. Or he can do me a solid, come in on Carlton's side and make Carlton scoot over. So he does me a solid. Forces Carlton. I'm getting too weird on this, but it was so funny. And anyway, so then Carlton gets into this, because we're just like, come on, get packed up. We go back to the hotel, then we have to go back and check in, and then, oh, God, all these guys didn't have credit cards, so they get in, and we go back. And we go back to Niagara, and, you know, the story, I don't want to keep beating the story, but, you know, that happened 4 nights in a row the first week. And we went out the next week, but it was only for a few days, just to wrap up a few things. But whatever, Niagara, I can't even go back. But that went on for 4 of the 5 nights. You know, it was just like, Jerry, I've got this deal over there that it was 54, and then all of a sudden they changed it to 63, and then it's like, no, I got another place for 57 for a couple nights, but then they didn't have vacancy after oh my God, engineers, I swear, Dave Stark was a guy that would drive an extra 12 miles because gas was 3 cents cheaper there. So these are true stories. These are engineers. That's kind of what you want on your team up to an extent. But probably the only other story from this Niagara, besides just absolutely falling in love with the job, and I had that feeling of you're at the right place at the right time and everything's good. And that's why I give it a 4, because something was telling me that this is where you should be. This is where you're meant to be. And just hold on to it. Like, I'll screw it up somehow. Maybe I'll just date someone. So foreshadowing. But the only other kind of funny story that I can think of the top of my head so at lunch you try, and this is how I learned how to prepare real well for field work. So go back to Robert Moses Parkway. When we're stuck at the job site, the new Robert Moses, we'd go there and then all of a sudden we'd run out of batteries or something ridiculous. And then so we'd have to go to the store and he'd come out here and then you went on forever and ever and ever and wherever we had to go. But it was at least, we had to go out. It was at least 20 minutes to a dime, or not a dime store, one of those little local hardware stores. But it was that kind of learning curve where it's like, just bring, triple, get 500 batteries forever and don't buy them per job. And that's the way these other guys had things set up where they wouldn't think ahead. So I got to be Mr. Think Ahead and have all these resourceful things. That's just the way I am. So we had to go to the, or chalk. That was a big thing. Because, like so we need spray paint. Get 50 cans of spray paint. But no, we just how much DLAMs are we finding? Well, not much. We'll just get 1 can of red. Because we don't. No, get 50 cans. And if it's $100, who cares? Just build a job and deduct, you can juggle the accounting and be honest, but just get what you need. Otherwise, I had to go with one of these guys for driving reasons. So get in the car and take market or go both. It's like all of you go because we have to have a meeting. And once you guys just go to the store and get get what we need. So I got into this big thing, not big thing, but kind of a routine where they had a daily meeting and Carlton and Jerry would go to it. He's Jerry when he's Jerry 90% of the time, but then now he gets to be Jerome. Always Jerome. And so I'd say that to the guy. He's good. He's a good guy. He was my manager, for crying out loud. My first review under him, he looked at me, he goes, I saw your salary, and this is my manager. He looked at me, he goes, you're way underpaid. Because I started on for $33,000. I know that number. It was $33,000, and he goes, you're way underpaid. So I got this big boost. I think it's big, over 10%. Maybe it jumped over 36, I think. But he goes, you're way underpaid. It's like, that's a nice thing to hear. But I did. I told Ethel. She goes, how much are you asking for? I go, it doesn't matter. Forget about, I'll take $1,000 less than the next unqualified person. But she knew. Oh my gosh, Ethel. I need a whole thing just for her. And Ethel, I spelled her name ETHYL for the longest time before I figured, it's like, aren't you the Gassahaw, Ethel? So, yeah, we had to go to these trips. But the funniest thing about the trips there was, so we go to this really local, dinky hardware store. And what walks into the front door when the bell, you got those little doorbells that go off? So you hear that ring, 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 and everyone looks up, and there's this tall, skinny white guy, followed by a Mexican and Mean Joe Green behind him walking into the store. And honest to God, the staff would just go, whatever you need, just take whatever you want. If you need that, if you need screwdriver, you need chalk? Sure, just go ahead. You want what's in the cash register? No, do you have any red spray paint? Sure, we got all the spray paint you want. Just take any color. Just like, so it's like this gang of thieves that come in every time and different staff people looking like, oh my God, we're going to get heisted because there ain't no blacks and there ain't no Mexicans in that 5-mile area, probably 20-mile radius. Oh my gosh, those were great times. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with this, but and then the other thing was the coffee. You find the local diners that even the chain gang from Chicago rolls in, but the best coffee, the best $3 eggs and pancakes and pork sausage, and oh God, they know how to, they look it, and their cholesterol probably shows it, but Oh, and then that was the first field job, and that was it. I was hooked. I go, that's it. That's me. That's me. And this was 88, September 88. And we'll pick it up from there. Oh, I taped over again. So just kind of wrapping up that the Carlton with the drilling through the 400 volt cable and the lights going on, dink, and that was kind of neat. And then I wanted to, not to jump on him for doing that because those things happen. And what we went to is there was I had my little job of coring oops at this convent right down the road from us in this is north side of Chicago at this convent. And why are all these in the fall? It's so depressing. There we go. So this was like a 1920s construction, and we had one of these, they might have both been sewing rooms down below, and we went in to do a condition survey, and part of that is you locate where the reinforcement is with a R meter, which is like a metal detector, and we had a coring team that time, and told the guy in the bathroom, said, just core here. And I'm running around doing my important engineering stuff. And I walk by and I look in the bathroom and all this water's gushing up out of the core barrels. The guy, turns it off, but the water's just pouring out. I go, you got to turn down your core water because you run into a hose or a faucet and that provides the water to keep down the dust and everything, cool down the barrel. And the guy just gives me the bug eyes, like, are you crazy? I know what I'm doing, and it's not. And by the time we're just kind of yakking back and forth, like, you gotta, this person comes running in and says, you guys, you're flooding the sewing room downstairs. And we're like, oh my God. It was like, it ran downstairs, and then the water had seeped through the floor and caved in the ceiling. It was a drop ceiling. And all of these, it was like 20 foot, 16 foot ceiling. And it's just water all over it, mud and gunk and all, all the stuff that's in between the floors. 50 years of dirt, debris, and the ceiling's all coming down. And oh my God, then all of a sudden another person comes, they had run, I don't know, she kind of floated over. Personnel came over and she goes, Mother Felician wants to see you. Are you the engineer? Yeah, I am. I think this guy is, but I'll do the deal. So I do my walk of shame, which, I've got 713 of these. And so I use number 87B of my walk of shame, and I go to Mother Felician's office. It's typical. I should say typical. Of all the mothers that I know, she had the office that I usually see. She had, one of these bare bones offices with a real simple desk and maybe a cross on the back and just none things. Whatever none things. And now I'm thinking Sopranos and Godfather stuff. It's all my knowledge about convents. Anyway. It's a late day. I'm doing laundry too, so just give me a break. And immediately I'm just like apologizing, and she just looks at me, stoic, cold, flat, just saying, don't worry about it, son. It's fine. It's just fine. I just want to let you know it's fine. I said, I'm sorry, and, well, just let us know, and we'll, we're covered. We have insurance for this. And she's just like, don't worry about it. And I think at that moment, marked, she knew, she put the wuju on me that it was just like, son, what you've got in store for you, you don't, God bless you, boy. I hope you're okay, because I know what you did. And so she just gave me this really, just cold, not cold bad, but just don't worry about it. I know you're probably upset, but just don't worry about it. And oh my God, the vengeance. And then I just wanted to wrap up one more thing with the coring, and I've got one more. And maybe this is why I had to do it again, because I told it wrong the first time. But so we're out there, and then we had the nonsense going on all week with, you get up in the morning, are we going to move, not move? We're going to move. Okay, go get our luggage and go to another hotel. You got to throw your stuff into the car, go to the job site, come back, go to the next hotel, check in, and then, so it's another hour before you can take a shower from being inside this cold dank, but then you sweat, and then, so you just want to go back to your room, crash, take a hot shower, then go have a beer or something, so that Jerry kind of got whiff of the crew's displease. And not that Marcus is the nicest guy in the world. I got to see what Luther Vandross looks like, because I don't know where that came from, but more apropos is the Mean Joe Green look, but wouldn't hurt anything for the life of him. So by the end of the week, Marcus he's gone rogue. So he just plops in the front seat, and then I get in the back in between Carlton and Jose, so you got all that going on. Marcus would just turn on the radio, listen to the rap and everything else. So the last day we get there and we're working, and we've got a 6:30 or 7 o'clock flight, so we got to wrap things up. They usually had a midday meeting with the administration, with Robert Moses Parkway people. And Jerry goes, you guys got to work through lunch because we've got to get a few things. I'll go get pizzas, which is fine because usually you take a break at lunch and you pile in the car and you go grab somewhere and take a little break, which is fine. But there's probably too much politicking going on with the car rides. and Mark is sitting in the front seat. Jerry probably got tired of this and look, I'll be nice and I'll get you guys pizza. So we keep working through lunch, and what should have been asked was, what do you guys want on your pizza? But unfortunately, that question was never brought up, because had it been brought up, the very item that all of us would have been agreed on is anchovies. So, giving it away, we're working through lunch, and 2 o'clock rolls around, 2:30, and Jerry comes in. He's got 4 or 5 boxes, big boxes, and we're like, oh, pizza. It's just kind of, you get tired working and stuff. And we all show up, and he pops open the box, and it stinks. And it's like a dead cow. And sure enough, the guy gets anchovy pizza. Not one of us took a bite. And Carlton's doing one. He takes one, and we just Carlton, Jose, and I look at each other like, well, let's just go back and get the rest of the course we need. And it was just like, oh no. So, that was the last one. And then I just wanted to get one thing in perspective more. So hold on. And I just wanted to put this whole thing into a little bit better perspective and a frame of reference, that I had this. God came in and said, look, this is what you need. And I don't want to turn to that. Obviously, you can read through the lines. So, but this job came along. It was perfect. But more on what this meant was, give it 50% that she looked like that, but she was just that person, that she became an aspiration as much as an inspiration to better myself the control that person had on me without knowing it, that I didn't drink because it was something that she would find just, it didn't stop me from doing a lot of knucklehead stuff, more than an abundance of that. But it was one of those, if someone like that were to ever be considered that, that I had anything to offer her, I couldn't do what I was doing. So I would think of her, and yeah, from the superficial physical side that was 50% of it. The other was what type of person she was, because she had the faith, and you just knew she did. And nothing could knock her off her pedestal. And I'm not saying the pedestal I built, the pedestal that her family had her on as a person. rock solid state person where any any Googling guy that's going to ogle all the alliteration of G's that are bad that guys do. She was so far above that and being immune to that, and she had her wits. She knew what was what. And that's what I loved about it. Now, I'm not going to say I loved her. I didn't know her well enough to say anything close to that. But she was an inspiration, and I kept throwing myself at her feet, thinking like, I'm that guy I want to be. Do you see it? Do you see it? Do you see it? And obviously she just probably, I don't know. I've never talked, there's no need to. But obviously, I guess if she thought, or if anyone thought that it was something more there, then it would have happened, but it didn't, and it's the way it is. Just trying to get the perspective that, oh man, that just, at the right time, it became that. So I got involved with that during the day, and then at night I got into cartooning and other things that preoccupied my time, and just started clearing up to get away from the wine. And even though that was still a big part on weekends, but it toned me down for the day. Because, you want to be on top of your game, always, but on weekends, I had my other stuff. So, I just wanted to put that in a different perspective. But, oh man.